Nigerian government has its own way of dealing with peaceful gatherings it doesn't like.
They started shooting us, killing our brothers. Over 10 of them were lying dead there.
The army is trained to kill and not to police processions or protests or demonstration. They are trained to eliminate whoever they see as the enemy.
See young men, young boys, 18 years, 15 years, being wasted like that. Just because of what you don't know.
The day began with a gathering of people who want to create an independent country in the southeast of Nigeria, what was once known as Biafra. Pro-Biafra members and supporters had come to pray for the release from prison of one of their leaders.
We have seen an increased number of disgruntled young men and women in southeastern Nigeria joining processions, joining gatherings to demand for an independent Biafra state. Because the people in that part of the country have always feel marginalized, they've always feel segregated against, they've always feel left out in the share of the Nigerian national cake.
Back in 1967, people in the southeast of Nigeria declared themselves independent, creating a separate country called Biafra. A civil as a result of a blockade on food supplies imposed by the Nigerian government.
Ignored the plates, man! No, they weren't scared at all! They're very well waiting!
Jullie moeten gewoon voor maken, is goed moeilijk als zo. Kom dan, kom dan!
Luister, ek vra nou vir 2 ure, dan duisende van die the cells are full! How long is it gonna take?
Jullie laatste keer wil ek met jullie kamer opdat. Kom maar, kom maar,
Pieter, jullie mensen informatie! Eenmaal informatie! Hierdie is een onwettige bijeenkomst! This first is our back to the stadium! This is your final warning! Ceasefire! Did you find a gun? You better find that gun!
We no longer accept the authority of a state that makes war on its own people.
And supporters had gathered to remember those who had fallen during the Civil War. At least 60 people died that day.
we see more than 20 heroes of Nigerian Army, Joint Force, Navy, Police, and they began to shoot at us. We began to run. As we were running, they shot me on the palm leg here.
Even when the injured sought refuge in gutters along the road, the military would seek them out, executing some on the spot.
When they were packing the bodies of the people that they shot, they now came inside the gutter and see that I'm still alive. He began to pour me acid. He wanted to blind my eye, but I turned my face down on that gutter.
Survivors say they have been tortured and denied medical treatment while detained by the military. Since August 2015, at least 150 pro-Biafra activists and supporters have been killed in numerous incidents involving the Nigerian army. Bodies were dumped in mass graves and even burned to eliminate any evidence.
We cannot rest. If you go to church, they will shoot you. They will burn the church. If you go to the market, they will come there to shoot you. You will also be in your house, they will come there to shoot you. There is no peace of mind in this country.
This is not something that is new within the country.
Another edition of Media. There is no doubt we are all abreast of the ongoing court trials of both Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Njoko Ekpa, simultaneously by Nigerian government. We are all also aware that the trials are part of the British unfinished war over what Prime Minister of Britain between 1964 to 1970 described as Ojuku's Biafra. They employed the Nigerian army, then headed by Colonel Gowon, to fight for the oil, which the Prime Minister stated Ojuku wants to control, unquote. However, the Prime Minister directed Gowon also to sign an oil deal with Britain for ammunition, supply of pilots and bombers, and other measures to strangle Ojuku and his Biafra, especially the Igbos. They put measures using the death of Ahmad Bello, which they, Britain, also unlatched through the military intelligence, which was controlled by Major Chukwuma Nzogwu. After the war, the British Prime Minister then, Harold Wilson, and his cabinet then designed allied and apartheid system against Biafra, especially the Igbos. This was because the full implementation of the allied program were not fully implemented, because Gowon was rambling about trying to garner all African leaders for British control, while South African atrocities under Pieter Botha, as well as that of Ian Smith of Southern Rhodesia, today's Zimbabwe, thereby abandoning the domestic assignments of providing Nigerians with the necessary amenities while serving the interests of Britain outside the Nigerian shore. Therefore, the implementation of British-Nigerian allied group against the Igbos was never realized by Gowon, and eventually Murtala Mohammed took over power in 1975. This, he never also actualized and implemented the program which was designed against the Igbos before Colonel Dinka's assassination bullet strike on the new head of state, Murtala Mohammed, that brought an end to his regime. When General Obasanjo took over, there were already under pressure by the international community to return power to civilian rule that would allow democracy to flourish instead of military regime. Then General Obasanjo was not friendly with the ongoing British-backed apartheid regime in both South Africa and Southern Rhodesia. Obasanjo acted against the British interest. He became enemy to Britain and therefore chose USA during the presidency of late Jimmy Carter between 1976 to 1979. However, on the choice of democratic rule, General Obasanjo was influenced by Jimmy Carter. therefore chose the presidential system of government rather than the parliamentary system, which was before the military coup of 1966 January. However, you must note that in Nigeria, when it comes to election, Britain would cunningly forgive or settle any soured relationship between it and Nigeria as to influence the decisions of the election. They achieved this by forcing Obasanjo to hand over to Shehu Shagari of MPN, not Chief Obafemi Awolowo of UPN or Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe of MPP. Shehu Shagari, while in power, the military was watching closely alongside Britain to ensure no Igbo man will emerge to govern Nigeria. This is called Allied Formula of 1945 that was implemented after the Second World War against Germany and Austria. When Brigadier General Muhammad Buhari rooted out the democratic elected government of Shehu Shagari on 31st December 1983, he was not able to implement the British-designed 1945 Allied programs against the Igbos. Between 1980 to 2015, none of the leaders or the presidents or military heads of state implemented the programs, not until Muhammad Buhari returned as the civilian president in 2015. He began to implement the program which was abandoned between this very period. So he began to seek for allies on the implementation of these programs. His return focused mainly on the implementation of the war program, which was not finished before he was overthrown. Like Obasanjo stated, he used Igbos to kill Igbos during the Nigerian Civil War, unquote. Therefore, Muhammad Buhari began to recruit Igbos who will be willing to carry out the unfinished war. They included Governor Hope Uzodinma, Governor Dave Umahi, and others whose sins were forgiven by the former national chairman of ABC, Adams Oshimole. For those who are watching the trials of both Biafran activists, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Ekpa, would observe the allegations against both political activists and compare them with that of Nelson Mandela and Walter Sisulu of South Africa in 1964, the template adopted by Ian Smith and Pieter Botha of South Africa, supported by Britain. Back to Biafra, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, is a separatist group in Nigeria that aims to restore the defunct Republic of Biafra, a country which seceded from Nigeria in 1967, period to Nigerian Civil War, and was subsequently dissolved on agreement of no victor, no vanquished. The group was founded in 2012 by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who has been the leader, and Uchemefo, who served as the deputy leader. Mr. Kanu is known as a British political activist, known for his advocacy of the contemporary Biafran independent movement, while Simon Joko Ekpa is a Finnish politician and Biafran political activist. In comparison with the South African political activists, such as Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela is South African anti-apartheid activist and politician who fought apartheid and marginalization agenda against his people, while Walter Sisulu was also another South African anti-apartheid activist and member of African National Congress, like Nelson Mandela. Now, the aim of this very program is to bring to notice the actions of the apartheid regime of South Africa comparing it with that of full-attire system in Nigeria. Now, the government of Muhammadu Buhari adopted Pieter Botha's repression system against the South Africans, and ANC was adopted by Muhammadu Buhari's full-attire system against the Igbos and the Ipob, while Britain kept silent over the treatment, just like they did in South Africa. We will now watch the video of what took place in Sharpeville in 1960 and also in Soweto in 1976, comparing it with what took place against the Igbos, against the Ipob in 2016, merely a year after Muhammadu Buhari came into power. His aim is to implement all the programs before he left office and change the status quo. Today, they are using the template of Pieter Botha and Ian Smith against South African freedom fighters of ANC like Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, etc., against the Biafran political activists Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Njoko Ekpa in the 21st century. It was adopted by Muhammadu Buhari and his cliques, today supported by President Ahmed Tinubu of APC. Let us watch this very video and compare them with what went on and how they turned the stick around against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Njoko Ekpa. In this very video, you will see the activities of military being unleashed to kill civilians, just like they did in South Africa. There is virtually no difference between what took place in South Africa and what is taking place in Nigeria today, and also in the time of Muhammadu Buhari, who came to implement the 1945 template against the Igbos. Should these videos be tendered as evidence of what took place in Nigeria and against the Igbos, against the Ipob, just like they did in South Africa? They should be tendered as evidence in the court. They should be sent to the Nigerian court and also Finland court to show how the Nigerian government, like the apartheid system, unleashed mayhem against the indigenous people of Biafra, according to Amnesty International report of 2016. Let me quote: since August 2015, the security forces have killed at least 150 members and the supporters of the pro-Biafran organization IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra, and injured hundreds during non-violent meetings, marches, and other gatherings. Hundreds were also arbitrarily arrested. This report focuses on the crisis brewing in southeast of Nigeria, where IPOB campaigns for an independent state of Biafra, unquote. According to Amnesty International, it stated, video footage and eyewitness testimony consistently show that the military, which was being deployed instead of police to control pro-Biafran events, has dispersed peaceful gatherings by firing live ammunition with little or no warning, unquote. The indigenous people of Biafra, under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, cries out over the deaths and the mass burial of Biafrans during remembrance of Biafran heroes and the heroines on Monday, 30th May 2016, unquote. This was equated with what took place in Sharpeville of 1960 and Soweto 1976, and subsequent events that took place between the regime of Pieter Botha and ANC. A repeat of repressive regime of South African apartheid system, which was adopted and implemented in Nigeria to the setting of the same court system and also allegations of terrorism, felony, and violence, which was the groundwork of South African apartheid system. Both Biafrans and non-Biafrans should watch this very video. If it is necessary to act as part of the defense that aggravated whatever allegations they must have placed against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Njoko Ekpa, then it should be sent to the defense team or be remanded to go and search for this video evidence if they have not got such videos within their reach and play it before the courts. If you think that this is important, please give us thumb up and also subscribe to this channel. We are bringing things that took place that must have been forgotten while this case is going on. People may think that this case is against these two activists. No, it is against the people who have been marginalized for years since 1945 till date and would continue if nothing is done about it. The international community are not always interested, but it is the people that will inform the international community and appraise them with videos and evidence and pressurize them to act on this. Executions of the activists, both in Finland and also in Nigeria, has attracted interest groups. When such videos are played in the public and the international community and the interest groups will know what have taken place in the past. The reports of Amnesty International may not be enough to circulate to the whole world for people to know what have been taking place between Nigeria and pro-Biafran group before this time. Thank you for watching. It's just a reminder and for people to reflect on the past and also inform the Defense Council of all these where they must have forgotten. Thank you for watching. We will come to you with another edition. Do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave your comment. And also direct these videos to appropriate voters if you have the ability and contact to do so. Bye.